Welcome back to the Kiev major qualifiers. We are looking at the C qualifier section. This is Clutch Gamers versus Prestige Worldwide. Clutch Gamers pretty much surprised everybody, right? They are the one that's perhaps the least known compared to some of the top teams, but they are doing extremely well right now, sitting at 4-1, beating out. Let's see, they beat Execration, they beat Geek Fam, they beat TNC. That's the big one.
Yeah, I mean, I think even Geek Fam was a pretty solid win. I think they had some really good games. All the games were close. All the games were pretty hyped, but they were solid. I do want to remind you that we are not on the drafting overlay, so while we are looking at 4 picks in, you will be switching that up so the lovely viewers can enjoy that as well. And yeah, so we are going to be looking at this matchup here now. Prestige Worldwide, we do have to give some context to what is going on with this team, why they are here. This is an NA pub stack. This NA pub stack is for apparently personal reasons, hanging out in Southeast Asia. They're going to be going to try to get into one of the major qualifiers through the Champions Cup anyway, so they go ahead and sign up for SEA. Turns out that not only did nobody sign up for the NA one, but they were the only team that signed up for the SEA one. Not sure what happened with that, communication issues, or just the fact that Tier 8 Dota, or Tier 8 Battle Cup is maybe a thinner pool. Either way, they were the only team that signed up. They are here by default, and so far they are 0-5.
I just don't think it's marketed very well.
I mean,
like a whole bunch of people just don't know that you could just.
Yeah, I'm sure there were enough eligible teams that it could have been a pretty interesting idea. It's just it was out of client, so whatever happened. We have Prestige Worldwide versus Clutch Gamers, and obviously we have some experience with these teams in terms of the NA scene. MJW is actually a pretty solid player. Has played quite a bit of off lane, but I think he's switched up his roles here and there. So overall, I've seen Remy play a little bit too, and Mario, I've actually met him. He was at one of the summits coaching Team Tinker. Apparently did a couple of stints coaching Team Liquid as well. So considered one of the better minds in the NA scene, but as far as playstyle, it really hasn't reflected it to the degree that we were looking for here. We have some amazing teams in the SCA region, and we have Prestige Worldwide, and at least just going by the record alone, I still don't have confidence that this is a team that can really compete on the level they need to.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's a very good experience for them as they are kind of slogging through the qualifier here. Let's see what they could do against Clutch Gamers.
I mean, they're just looking for one win this qualifier, right? Like, if they can get any wins, it'll feel better for them. They're not in playoff contention anymore. They're already down 5 games.
Yep.
But get a win. Don't feel like you're like MUFC or something. And
damn, man.
Just get something out of the qualifier for sure. So we'll see. But the draft is interesting. Banning out heroes such as Lone Druid, Timbersaw, and Earth Spirit. Even Alchemist being taken out here. I'm not sure if that was just a prior draft for PWW or what, but we're going to see Slaughter, Rubik, and Centaur, Warrunner, and Disruptor as the opening here. So, thinner off-laner pool, and just generally speaking, a good mix here with the support Slaughter in this case.
Yeah, so right from the get-go, Clutch Gamer having a very active off-lane that could pressure you very hard. I think they're already in a fairly good spot there, because Disruptor, you know, his strength is the mid game where he could go for the pickoffs, he could go for the team fight, but his one big weakness is that his lane just sucks. And you're going to get bullied pretty hard by Slaughter plus Darkseer. So that also limits what Prestige could pick in the safe lane as a core option. If you're thinking about something like a Slark, that's just out of the window. Like, you're just unable to lane it there. And that's just an example to throw out. Elder Titan does help. It's a pretty beefy frontline kind of hero. Still, though, you need to pick up a safe laner that could hold his own.
Yeah, and I like that Clutch had pretty good foresight as far as them wanting to pick up the Darkseer, because I believe it was them, but no matter what, we've seen multiple times a Juggernaut picked up in response to an aggressive Darkseer lane, where it's like, okay, well, it's pretty tough, but you can just spin a double creep wave, a double Iron Shell on the creep wave, you can just spin it out. The Blade Fury will make sure you're safe from it, and you'll be able to kill off those creeps. They ban out the Juggernaut, they ban out the Invoker, they ban out good heroes to counterplay against these types of options, and now we've got a very aggressive lane, some very limited options in response, and they even deny out the Elder Titan Ember Spirit combo, which we got to see Faceless run on day 1. So they pick up the Ember Spirit for themselves, and they've got just a heck of a laning phase ahead of them.
How much of that combo is actually a combo? Is it just Searing Chain to Stomps? Is that really the combo?
That's a really nice aspect of it. For the most part, we just seen Astral Spirit go out with Natural Order on, Veil of Discord, and you just triple Remnant Nuke, and you could actually one-shot anybody.
That's fair.
At least at level 12 or above. So it's actually really solid in terms of just magical damage output. But I mean, obviously there are a lot of ways to look at it, and a lot of ways that it can be very effective.
I gotta say, Elder Titan or any particularly Yule buyers is pretty good here, right? Because Yule's gonna be able to actually debuff a lot of these Iron Shell, Flame Guard kind of ability. So, I mean, one thing's for sure: you put Iron Shell on Ember, and he goes in, it's gonna be damage happening pretty fast and pretty hard.
So I think that you really need a very aggressive carry to pick up in this position because you have to fight out against the Slardar Darkseer, and you have to put Darkseer on the run because Disruptor's only really good against Darkseer when he's not man fighting. When Darkseer's surging away and trying to live, that's when Disruptor's really strong with his
Sure.
glimpse, with his kinetic, and I think that's what they need, the position that they need to put Clutch Gamers in early on here. So get a carry that isn't really susceptible to Rubik's spell steals and can really just put a lot of hurt into the Darkseer Slaughter early on.
Clinks, yo.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's a very solid option for now. OD is going to be coming through as a pretty tried and true option for the mid lane here. Of course, that does mean that Clutch will have the perfect counter pick in mind, as long as it's not banned out, but I do think that it's overall a pretty good setup here. So Ember versus OD mid. Darkseer as the offlane Slaughter, mostly roaming as a support down there. So what are we looking at for safe lane for Clutch?
I mean, I think you react to the carry option from Prestige, so we're gonna have to wait. Unless these arrows are pointing the wrong way, which they always are.
They very frequently are at the very least.
50% of the time, they are pointing the wrong ways. So
yeah, if Lifesteal wasn't banned out, they'd definitely be going for that. But obviously, with that in play, we'll have to see. I mean, there are still some various options here. A lot of good physical damage is the only thing they're lacking.
Team pick.
actually, it wouldn't be bad to see a Slark here again. Maybe not against ET though. Like ET, there's a lot of AOE that just hits you regardless whether it invis or not. So maybe maybe Slark is not a good choice here.
No, I definitely wouldn't look for that as their option. But I don't know. I mean, you could still go for like a troll or a drow or just any kind of like tower breakers. Luna hasn't been picked up in a long time, but she's still an amazing hero. I don't know why she just fell off so hard just after some talent changes. Like, obviously it's a nerf to her early game, but it's still, she's a high impact hero.
Dire team pick.
Kind of doing a double take here because this is not a drow lineup, if you ask me, for PWW.
I wonder if it's like the call from the mid saying I need a little bit extra help here. I can just dumpster the Ember Spirit if I get a little bit of extra precision aura damage. I'm not too sure, but it's actually going to be that physical range damage dealer in the Clinks here. We mentioned it for Prestige Worldwide. Well, here it is for Clutch Gamers to round out our 5-5 draft.
Is it clear to say that one team has a better draft? And if so, why is it Clutch?
I think it's a bit ambiguous. Like, obviously, the Drow Ranger does. We don't know exactly what piece of the puzzle PWW are going with, but let's say we consider these teams equal skill. Instead of looking at this as a 0-5 Champions Cup team, let's say Faceless was playing the draft down here for Prestige Worldwide.
Right.
I would say there's lots of potential for it. It's just we gotta kind of take that out of the context that we're looking at here. We're like, oh well, if they're already playing mechanically worse, then it's going to be very difficult to execute this Drow pressure. Well, if I think if the skill is there and if the execution rotations are there from the Disruptor ET, they can absolutely make this work. It's just that Clutch, by default, have so much going for them going into this game.
To me, it seems like Prestige is drafting more so for the lanes, because the Drow Ranger last pick, it's like, hey, we could actually do okay with the Iron Shell. I still don't think she does very well against the run at you of Slaughter. So that's a big concern. But the biggest concern for me though is how well do they, like, what's their goal? What's their game plan outside of the laning stage? Like, what is this lineup capable of doing?
I mean, siege.
They don't gank too well.
I think
they siege okay.
They're pretty solid sieging. They just build around the Drow, and you just wait for the approach. Like you have the kind of base breaker in this Elder Titan Earth Splitter. You've got a lot of potential physical damage and magical damage because of that natural order. Like you get a lot. The Drow kind of starts it off, and the OD just drops the hammer, and you get 2 kills right there. So I feel like they can start fights really well, but they need obviously the Blink Dagger on the Centaur. They need some really good skill usage on the ET. And Remy's actually going to be starting with the Iron Talon.
They might actually get a kill here against Haha, right? Or Hannah. They could just glimpse him back into a stomp. Okay, never mind. No spells were selected. But they did get a good D-ward, so.
That's solid.
30
Okay.
seconds.
So
to
Fly
battle.
Solo is going to be the solo support up top in the Rubik. He's going to be hanging out with a Klinks though, and Abing going for like an early Wraith Band and just the Aquila. You pretty much always need it. Do you go Soul Ring still? I think that's still pretty solid with the short cooldown ultimate. It's only 45 seconds.
For Clinks?
Yeah.
I think Black skips it on his team. I think it's actually player preference a lot of the time.
If you don't go Soul Ring, you definitely have to go Treads to try to swap them out.
Yeah. Also, you ask yourself if you're going to be going for Dragonlance into Hurricane Pike.
Yeah.
Because the extra int there allows you to skip the Soul Ring if you plan to go down the row. But we'll see.
All right, so for right now, we've got ourselves Elder Titan with the early Windlace, early Smoke. Gonna see what he can do. Most of the time, though, you're waiting for level 2. When you get to the Spirit, then you're able to kind of extend your reach and make sure those disables connect the way you want. The OD's lane should be pretty fine, I think. The Ember Spirit's not going to be able to do too much directly at the beginning. So we're going to keep our eye on bottom where the first blood's most likely to happen. And he actually went Spirit.
Yeah. I mean, it lets you harass pretty hard, right?
He can trade very well in this situation.
In fact, they've both gone for the non-killing kind of skilled up for the Radiant support. They're just looking at damage and force them away. In fact, they're just going to Ancients and Neutrals, so... Alright.
Not
pretty
expected
well.
fully, to be honest with you. But, I mean, the Darkseer definitely needs to work on his levels a little bit first, and they're just going to stack. I mean, that's the big thing is stacking at this 1 minute mark is actually so important because, like, obviously 3, 5, 7 minutes, like, it feels like so much time has passed when you start building up those stacks. If you want your stacks to start rolling, you really need to get them out at the first minute.
Yep.
So they're just a team that wants to optimize that. Fly Solo stacks up a camp on the western side of the Dire jungle, and obviously we see that Slar was able to help Hannah out there near the secret shop.
Now, it's not imperative per se for this Dire dual off lane to do extremely well, because at the very least they force Centaur to also go jungle. So you're kind of trading somewhat evenly there. The only downside is that Slaughter is not getting what he often gets, which is like a kill and quite a bit of levels. But in fact, he is actually being very aggressive against Mario, forcing him away, at least for the time being. And of course, Klinks is free farming as well.
Yep, so just able to bully his way in. Actually going to be the Stomp Connect. Could this be the first blood here? They're going to get enough mana for the Thunder Strike. They need a little bit more auto attack damage. That is going to be the Tango, and...
One more?
Yep. First blood. So, just a little bit too far forward. Very nice stomp coming in from the ET, and really good spot to start off for them. They need the momentum for sure.
Yep. I mean, it's not the worst because he gets the TP back and grabs some experience immediately, but it's more so giving him the first blood goal than not getting too much of any return. Centaur rotating up top slowly, and he's still looking to Iron Talon jungle. Tranquil Boots already queued up. Skipping the Stout Shield, that's the interesting thing that I find, because normally if you are dedicated... Oh, sorry, he does have the Stout.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Saying, yeah.
I was like, are we talking about a different hero here?
Yeah,
I'm staring at his inventory.
Yeah.
But that's fine, that's fine. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as that goes, he's still gotten a lot of good consistency through the jungle. He'll have his Tranquil Boots at a good clip. The Klinks is the one that's actually at the top of the lane CS, though.
Mid lane, we're going to see a rotation from behind here, and this is going to be a pretty decent gank. Astro still on cooldown for a couple seconds. He's looking to man up here. I'm not sure whether he'll make it.
Oh,
the
he's got the
clap's
kill.
looking pretty good. In fact, that's going to be one kill. Support rotating in. That's a 3-man crush. He needs one more hit with the Astro. Oh, jabaited. And it looks like he's going to give a secondary kill. Well played by Prestige, and they're going to get to take a team shower here. And boy, that's a good one. And yeah.
No tally efficiency as well. They are in a really good spot now, getting the momentum on the OD. This guy can be a killer with this kind of a start. He's already had the precision aura working for him, and a lot of players would just look at that situation and be like, okay, well, I'm just going to try to run to the tower and hope I survive, but he mans up, he gets some good arcane orb damage in, and is able to set his team up for a double. So very, very nicely done. Hannah, on the other hand, he's making his way away. This is actually Boomback's playing, stood pretty much in off lane, Slardar, and then the Darkseer is just full-on jungling with the Soul Ring and the Iron Shell.
I want to ask you about the OD skill build here, because normally you don't level up Astro against Ember because how ineffective it is against Flame Guard.
Yeah.
But do you actually max SS Aura? I thought you just lean a little bit, maybe like 2-on-2 into Arcane Orb.
No, I've always found that more consistently, you can get more Arcane Orbs out across the board because you have more Essence Aura. Especially if you go for like 2 Null Talismans, like Treads, and then maybe into a Veil.
Okay.
You just always can cast that spell, or cast that orb, because you have that aura so heavily maxed.
And
But
do you expect that's the item build here, the Veil follow-up?
I mean, it seems natural. You already have the 2 Null Talismans, so it's a pretty easy build up from here. You've already kind of got half of it in your inventory, so
Okay.
I'd say so. It works really well with the ET again. Like any kind of Veil plus Natural Order damage is going to be pretty immense. And you can't count out like Disruptors magic damage, for example. The Static Storm towards the tail end of it is actually pretty high DPS.
I mean, the thing we've been seeing OD is that he has been having a lot of different item builds. There's, you know, the good old Dragonlance, Force Staff. We've been seeing Midas. We've been seeing HODs, Veil. Like, so it's really hard to grasp what is the right item. And it looks like he is queuing up Hannah Midas as we speak. So
all right, so that's not too bad. That should allow him to kind of propel himself forward. He's already got a really great start, and he just kind of wants to make sure that that needs to be the case. It does mean that they'll slow their roll a little bit and look to kind of take the game more in the mid game than just knock down towers left and right and snowball hardcore like you see some pubs go.
I guess that's more so up to the Draw Ranger to do for the team.
So we'll see what she opts for. She's going for, it looks like, just the Dragonlance for now, and going to be able to build up a lot of agility pretty early on. The Pike is pretty important in this game too. You got a lot of good control from the start of the Ember, but they don't have Blink initiation for a while. So you should be able to keep the distance with the Pike and put yourself in a better spot.
Yeah, that's one thing for sure is, as we expect, Prestige has drafted a lot for the laning stage, having some of the best lane winners, and you can make the argument they're winning at least 2 out of the 3 lanes. I say the Centaur is doing absolutely fine up top as well. I mean, Klinks is free farming, but Klinks is going to free farm regardless of whether Centaur being there or not. So overall, I think Prestige is at a very good spot. It comes down to the mid game is how many towers do they lock down with the Drow Ranger, and more importantly, how many ganks can they avoid from the Klings? Because this Klings is going to be coming online relatively soon, and he's going to be looking on the hunt.
Absolutely. We're going to see actually an opportunity for a glimpse play here onto Hannah. Going to be able to put him into position for the stomp with the gust, but will it be enough damage is the question. The crush has already been used, so they will focus fire as best they can, but Hannah's still a little bit too tanky. They're going to have to pop the Stampede to get some distance on the Drow.
Stampede. I think pretty much just defensive usage there, and
purely,
yeah, not the best.
No, it just goes to show that this Darkseer is a tough cookie to crack, and it's going to be a lot more effort put in to try to bring him down. In fact, actually getting a double stack here from the hard camp, actually getting a lot of great efficiency in this position.
All right, mid lane wise, CS is very much so in the favor of MWJ, but that's kind of what we expected. Ember is going to lose this matchup. The Midas really doesn't help Clutch Gamer, so yeah, I wonder exactly how they're going to recover this mid game. Is it kind of all up to Klinks? Or is there going to be some other ways for them to fight their way back? I guess Ember could also pick up a couple kills here and there, but...
I mean, I think, yeah, it's going to be a lot of snowballing from the Ember, and then Klinks just does his natural progression.
Alright, looks like Crush is going to start things off on the bottom side. And there you go, that's going to be a dead kill. 2 stomp being stolen, and it's going to be another stomp connecting. Hannah did not get hit by it. That's going to be a stomp. They're going to get a secondary kill as well. Tower doing quite a bit of damage. Double edge, and now Fly Solo getting hit by the tower because the double edge has taken down a Darkseer. Glimpse for one more? Well,
I think they might.
Can they actually get the kill, though?
Yeah, they need the double edge. Now it's going to be just poking and prodding it down. The Drow did not give him that extra bonus damage. He's got the tranquil movement speed away, and he might just try for the TP. No, Kinetic catches sight of him, and he'll have to juke further into the trees while the Ember rotates down to take it down the Centaur.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Wow.
attack.
Yeah. Kind of crazy fights all over the place. I guess the biggest winner is the OD, who essentially got to stay in the lane. Meanwhile, I do believe Bing has taken down the tier 1 tower as well. So his gameplay is now officially online, starting to roam around the map to look for solo kills. Don't think it's actually possible for him to kill MWJ, though.
No, MJW is a pretty good spot with his armor pool and his just overall health pool. So, and the fact that he's just so close at hand to a safe space.
Yeah, Ember is rotating in, although I believe he was spotted out by Observer Ward, so...
And he is going to be going for no talisman, or for the Veil of Discord on the Ember Spirit. As far as the OD, he just finished up the Midas and will be able to put that to work immediately. Meantime, down bottom, is there a kill here? I mean, they don't have amp damage, otherwise it would be guaranteed. Anybody that steps past the tower, it just is dead. But in this case, you have to kind of work for it.
I do believe Klings was scouted out by the Astral Spirit. It doesn't give too much vision, but should notice that one of the big creeps is gone, and it's a good idea that a Bing is nearby, and they're hiding behind towers. Again, personally, for me, like, Clutch Gamer needs to make a comeback via the Klings, and so far he's unable to find anything.
Up top, we're just going to see a free tower push, and you can't really TP in this position, can you? It's going to be canceling the TP as we see the fight and the dive down bottom.
Well, Scan comes out here. It does see a couple of heroes. It's going to be one-man crush. Disruptor running the other way. They have Glimpse to actually push him away to give him a little bit of space. Teleports are coming back in, and that's a Stampede being used defensively. They see Fly Solo. Fly Solo going to take a bunch of damage, but not dying just yet. Still, so far, nobody has died. A Bing will windwalk away. Sentry and a Glimpse back to the tower range, but he is not kinetic up. Gus is going to push him back, and he should be dead here. Juking into the trees, and the hammer gets dropped. That's a lot of long names to pick up that kill, but they do pick up the kill on a Bing.
Well played indeed. That's actually a really huge pickup for them. And in the meantime, Remy's just pushing out the top lane, takes up that tower, and just gets so much more out of it. The response there was really solid from Prestige Worldwide, as they're able to make it impossible for the dive to succeed. I think one big problem was Boombax couldn't get the amp out soon enough on the Disruptor, so they didn't have any vision as he kept juking through the trees. Made the dive take way too long, and the response was there from PWW.
It's going to be hard to say PJW and PWW. And it's not even PJW. PWJ. No, it is PJW. I'm drunk. Just too many letters, guys. Fly Solo in the trees. Gonna get clapped here. They could chase for him pretty easily, but MJW, a little bit worried about the reinforcement, which is coming in fast.
Haste.
Yep, coming in, looking for the chain. Is going to find one, and the right clicks will come through that Astro. Not going to save him, even if he casts out himself. Wolf trying to pour it out there, but jump in, and whew,
good try.
That was close.
But it doesn't work out in the end. It's going to be Boombax pushing up top and trying to get himself Blink Dagger quickly enough. And they're going to put some hits in this tower. The Clink's obviously very well suited for it. TP away means this is going to be a freebie.
Alright, switching over to Network here, looking at the teams. A fairly close game all over the place, considering that how the lanes went for Clutch Gamer. They are kind of knocking
nice
objectives.
pick up here on the Disruptor. Just going to be able to get the melee crush. Yeah, he's silenced.
Who's picking up
there's
Blue,
the
though?
Reinforcement.
There we go. Remy shows off that blink, rescue his team, and now working towards Hood.
Yeah, just this Slaughter is showing more and more how underleveled he is and how he's just not in the position he wants to be in. I mean, worst case scenario, you just have to stampede away from that. But they have the center in the right place at the right time to blink in and turn it around entirely. Clinks, on the other hand, looking for an opportunity, but not much presenting itself.
He's actually being given a couple Observer Ward the last time I checked his inventory.
Yeah,
just
nice.
gets to kind of get into these kind of very sneaky spots to drop the boards. But I really think he needs like a +1 to really force these solo kills.
Yeah, there's definitely no way that he gets most of these heroes by themselves, not in these conditions. So he's just going to keep the roam on and keep moving about. He's at least staying efficient. He's always clearing out a camp here and there while he's moving. He always seems to have that ultimate buff active, so he's still obviously shows that it's not just like a pocket pick here because it fit the role they needed. It's something that he's comfortable playing.
He may be comfortable, but so far very ineffective in the state of the game here. Prestige just gets to do whatever they want to be doing. Now, granted, they haven't been actually tapping into the Drow, at least for tower pushing purposes, but she still gets a farm, and we've seen late game Drow still pack a punch.
Not much for the Rubik to really do here. He did get a nice steal on the Centaur stun earlier, but most of the spells you're going to be stealing are not going to be all too effective. He got the Gust this time, but most of the time that we've seen the Gust from Wolf, he's actually used a Precision Aura right after so that you can't take it away. We do have an opportunity here on top lane, though, as they go 2v1, putting a lot of damage in. Nice Gust. He doesn't have a TP, though, so he's going to have to get stampeded out of here.
All right. Expensive retreat, but a retreat nonetheless. And now Remy comes back in. It's going to be a one-man stomp coming through, and boom. Oh, he's dead. That's going to fly out here. Glimpse coming back. Nicely done here by Clutch. That's going to be, or rather that should be 2 clean kills. That dust is running out fairly
by the
soon.
shrine, though. Armel, is he actually going to go for something?
I think it's fine, actually. Dust runs out. Shadow Walk? Still good for a while. In fact, might even think about turning it on
Oh,
Wolf.
yeah, he's got the DD Ember right nearby. They just need a 1 spell to come out, and they can make that work. He's going to go for it here. Stunned and gusted immediately, but where's the reinforcement? Armel just making sure that the Bone Fletcher will be able to sneak his way out of here. Unfortunately, gets dusted in his retreat. Do they have the nuke damage? Yeah, with the Static Storm committed, they certainly will.
Yep.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Helmet Dominator on the Darkseer. Of course, this is a hero that, or an item that anybody can get pretty much, but he's actually using it in a pretty unique way. He's possessing the creep, and then he's iron shelling it and trying to go for a kill here. The Satyr gets sleeped, and still the Elder Titan, he actually might die. This creep is fast. He's got a shockwave left. Almost enough damage. Oh, just shy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just the natural 425 movement speed from this Dominator is actually proving quite effective in terms of...
I've seen it so many times. Ice does this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, all the time.
Cool. Very cool.
And sometimes he even puts it on the small Satyr.
Oh, of course.
And he'll perch somebody and just walks up next to it. It's actually like the most, I don't know, BM thing that you could do as a Darkseer.
But very effective, to be sure. Well, now Hannah's kind of showing some dominance over this part of jungle. In general, when you're up against a Clinks, you're going to be pretty afraid of farming in the more open parts of the map. And so the eastern side of the Radiant jungle is completely cut off to them when they lost that tier 1.
Right.
So Hannah's taken full advantage of that, farming a solid rotation of 3 or 4 camps, and with this Helmet Dominator just not even at risk.
Also, we're starting to see perhaps I'm not sure if weakness is the right word, but the unfocused mid-game portion of Prestigious draft. Right? Again, I brought up the question is, what are they supposed to be doing with this draft at this point of the game? You brought up the ability to tower siege, but obviously with OD building towards a Hannah Midas instead of, you know, a Dragonlance, let's say, the tower sieging capability is just not as good. So essentially, they allow Clutch to start the game off in perhaps a weak laning stage, but then they just give them time to make a comeback. Now they get to run around the map ganking you with their Blink Daggers, sorry, not Blink Dagger, allow the Slaughter to catch up with this Blink, allow the Darkseer to catch up with this poor start of the game. So I keep saying that, you know, Klings needs to be ganking the way back in the game, but because Clutch Gamer is allowed to just farm, maybe not the Slaughter as he gets picked here.
Yeah, and he was actually so close to his Blink Dagger too, so loses quite a bit of gold out of that. Very, very frustrating for him. But like you said, he kind of had a rough start already, and he's at least being given time for the most part.
Yeah, overall, I just think that Clutch Gamer has gotten way too much space than
yeah
they should be getting.
Very passive play coming in from Prestige Worldwide, maybe afraid of making an error. They do go up top here, but the double edge only just takes off the Flame Guard. Is that Gust going to be long enough? Doesn't look like it. Level 3 Gust is long, but not long enough. Where's the Remnant?
Where's
your Remnants? Oh, boy. Playing the new Ember Spirit a little bit too much
rather than the old one, and not keeping a standby for a situation like that.
Very nicely done here by Clutch Gamers. Good usage of, like, you know, small stuns and disables, able to keep the OD in check for long enough, and they do get the kill.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, there are a lot of Embers that are preferring nowadays to run these kind of 3 Remnant setups where they could just go for really heavy burst nuke damage, but when you're farming, you always want to have one just at least a screen away so you can get a jump out.
Really well played by Fly Solo there. Got Thunderstrike in a very bad spot, knew the glimpse was coming, so was able to use Drow's Gust to push him back and immediately get a TP out, so very nicely done.
Oh,
Stampede.
nice back. Is that going to be enough? You're not without the Blink Dagger on Slaughter, I don't think, as now Remy's going to be able to blink himself out, while the Radiant Courier does get picked off by the Clinks. Now Dust trying to punish him for it. They don't get in range for the Echo Stomp, though, and it looks like he's going to be able to get a glimpse back into Doom.
Okay. All right. I mean, Prestige needs to really convert these kills into objectives. It's good to pick off Klings here and there, but Drow Ranger should be just pushing mid instead of hitting an Ancient Camp right now, in my opinion.
Well, there's going to be a smoke shrine play here. They've got the wall, they've got the vac, they've got the initiation they want. He actually, I think, had quick buy on Mechanism for the Darkseer, and now Hannah's actually just rushed out the Blink Dagger instead. So it opts for a surprise factor and the ability to kind of jump before PWW is ready to respond.
Force that forward. Oh, that Drow Ranger pretty much is dead at this point. Yep, that's going to be a quick, clean kill. OD being silenced up as well. Fly solo gaining on him.
Got a Force Staff.
Lift him back, and that, okay, Astro has been used, and Astro will be stolen to actually buy himself a little bit more time. Disruptor getting focused on. He's going to die very, very fast. They actually missed out the Hoof Stomp, and as a result, Fly solo gets a blink away. The Centaur Stampede has been used, but so far they're just getting picked off one by one. Nice blink away, but I think they still have vision on him. They could actually go for the Astro play, Fly solo, unable to get the Astro off. But regardless, that was a 3-for-0 engagement. They picked off both of the cores, and Clutch Gleamers looking pretty good.
Yeah, still a very nice triple kill coming in, and they're going to be able to really just show full suppression on the bottom part of the map. As far as this tier 2, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to put too much damage into it. Obviously, the Searing Terrors can chug it down pretty quickly, but I'm assuming that PWW will respond, that they'll try to be in position, try to at least get a good Echo Stomp there and dissuade them from the siege.
Yeah, Ember already poured out, so I think we're done for any kind of aggressive team plays. Well, Prestige. I guess they're chilling and farming.
I don't know if that's the play. I mean, I know.
It's definitely not the play, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're going to get a BKB soon enough on the OD, and that'll be very helpful as a whole. But, I mean, in the end, you still had the same drawbacks that you had a few minutes ago, and it might be making things even more difficult in the long run. The courier that got sniped by the Clinks did have Mario's Urn of Shadows, so the Disruptor will have that pretty soon. And the Centaur Warrunner does have 3,700 gold banked up, so he is going to be able to pick up that
How's he
Aghanim's.
so rich?
I mean, he's the one who was pushing past the waves up top. He was the one who broke down the tower. As far as kills, he's been involved in almost all of them. He's 4, 1, and 3. Well,
Right.
I guess that's 7 out of 12, but still, that's a very significant portion of his income is just from the objectives and the kills. The creeps come secondary, but he's still been consistent about that too.
Yeah, Centaur is doing amazingly, but then you could also say that it's just OD and Drow Ranger not keeping up. You got to keep in mind this is a Midas OD. Being what, the 5th net worth in the game? That's just not really going to cut it.
Not at least for now. We're going to see the Disruptor run into some trouble here, but Boombax doesn't immediately respond with the crush. Kind of wait to feel the situation out a little bit more, and both sides part their ways.
Whenever I see Boomback, I think of Boombell.
Yeah, I do that as well, but I mean, they're from the same region. I'm curious if there's any similar inspiration between the two names.
Link Dust use on a Bing. Gonna get hoof stomped, and he should just get bursted down. Yeah, they drop everything for him. He's gonna try to turn around for Remy. Remy, a little bit too tanky for that one. And that's Ags. 22 minutes
Up top, gonna be a Blink Crush onto the Drow.
nice
She does
force.
get the Force Staff away, but closing the distance is that Ember
Gusto.
Spirit. Just needs a little bit more Remnant damage in here. Gets Yule's up, but one more hit will do it.
Okay, they do get the clap for the stun, but now the chain stun's gonna come through. Remy comes in, and because Sprint has been turned on, that double edge is so much more damage. Fly solo will get trapped under that Astro. No way to blink him out, and he is gonna be dead as well. Can they get the vision for the glimpse?
I don't think so. So at this point in time, I mean, you have to wonder if they really need to be pushing out that far. I mean, it's great to find easy opportunities, but as soon as that Force Staff came out, the Drow was in a much harder position to punish, and they end up getting the reinforcements they need. I feel like if you're just like maybe looking at Roche and covering that area, getting better ward vision, or at least dewarding, that might be better than trying to fish for these opportunities.
I mean, I can't fault for them too much because it was a Drow Ranger. Like, it's a very key kill, but still, it was a big commitment, and they definitely pay for it.
And you got the Stampede now with Aghanim's effect, so you're able to respond to those situations a lot better.
That's true.
I mean, a big part of Clink's job and role is to put out a huge amount of damage in the first few seconds of the fight, but Centaur's X counteracts that quite convincingly. Do you think that that might be actually a key back into this one because of Clink's reliance on his strafe?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it's hard to really say who's actually ahead at this point, right? The Gold Graph says it's a 2,000 net worth lead for Clutch Gamer, and I think Radiant has been too passive on that end to really punish. At the same time, Clutch Gamer isn't really putting on the greatest pressure. Like, there we go. This is what I wanted to be seeing out of them more. Like, just play a little bit more aggressive at the towers.
Radiant's bottom
No,
tower
well, they take
has
that one out,
fallen.
no problem at all. And now we see up top a little bit more fishing going on between a number of heroes. They have the glimpse in place, so they probably feel very confident against that disruptor. But as they say that, maybe they're worried about the flank, and they should be, as we do see
I'll
a
take that.
sprint and a skeleton walk coming up. BKB very shortly coming out on the OD. That's going to be allowing him to really just kind of man fight the position. Yeah, that you have to worry about the amp damage, and you have to worry about the Desolator right clicks from Clinks, but as a whole, I do think that just from the Stampede in conjunction with the BKB, he should be able to stand and deliver for the most part, especially if they're able to focus the Clinks.
Glimp's gonna find Hannah, but Hannah is gonna get stunned up as well. Are they gonna use the Storm as the question here? Okay, they're doing a good amount of chain stun, but it's not gonna be enough. In fact, it's gonna be turned around. Nice back wall combination. No follow with the Slaughter stun though. Hannah goes down to the hammer on the back line, and now Clinks coming in here, focusing on the Centaur. 1-for-1 trace so far here on the backside though. Ember Spirit really being caught out here by that silence. Drow Ranger letting him fill, and the bashes are coming in as well, but he gets a final jump back out, and now Drow Ranger being isolated by his enemies. Gonna be a 3-for-1 trade right in front of the Roshan pit. Instead of going for the Rosh, Clutch Gamer seems to be wanting to pick up extra more kills. No. So they're gonna go back for the big rock man, and this last team fight definitely putting the Clutch Gamer very far ahead.
And you're seeing some frustration for MJW here, pinging out the situation that he was put inside. He was able to get a really good kill on the Dark Seer, who was retreating, get himself 4-staff down in chains, self-imprisoned, but wasn't able to get out in time. So again, a lot of frustration, very clearly presented by the mass piggy coming in from MJW, who's seeming, I feel, has been doing a lot for his team. Like, he's been really carrying his weight in the fights. And I'm just not sure if it's communication, if it's just a lot of frustration at the current affair, but they obviously need to get something accomplished and get their act together.
It's a morale ping spam.
Yeah.
When,
yeah.
When
Oh,
you
that's
die
you're
die
taking
in
the
pubs,
positive mental attitude here. It's like, oh, yeah, X-ping, we got this.
We got this.
That was a fight that totally we could have 5-0'd, you know?
Yeah.
It's fine. Oh, yeah, that's what I think of when I hear the X sound 100 times in one area.
I feel so motivated after.
Oh, man. I mean, I feel like I've misjudged half my pub games up to this point. I should have realized. They were just trying to tell me, don't give up. We can do this.
Yeah. All right, double Invis gank. I know you were a big fan of that last game with the Slark and the Sakuchi Rubik. This time around, Clutch Gamer unable to find too much. When I watch this game, I feel like takes me back maybe a couple of years where the teams are just not as decisive as some of the top tier teams right now. I think Clutch Gamer has been pretty decisive, but they are the team that can't siege buildings as effectively as Prestigious. And Prestige to me is not utilizing their team potential to its fullest.
Yeah, I think they're playing very careful though. I think the way they look at it is that this is a team that everybody in the group should be beating, and if they lose to them, it could really hurt their standings overall.
This is from Clutch Gamers' perspective here?
Yes, Clutch Gamers, they know that everybody else so far has beaten Prestige Worldwide. If they're the one team that makes one really stupid misstep and then ends up dropping the game to them, they're going to be kicking themselves throughout as these standings continue to progress, and we get to the closing of this group stage. So
and draw lineup is that possibility is actually very high, right? You lose a team fight in front of your tier 2, you could just lose Rex.
Absolutely. So it's definitely something where they might be just concerned, but
Blink
they're
lift. Ooh. Wait, where's that? Where was the stun?
Yeah. It's just a pullback. Oh no, it was actually the Drow Ranger's Hurricane Pipe. Pulled him out of telekinesis.
And regardless of whether there was a Slaughter stun, he would have still got sent to safety.
Yep. Very nice. Very good response from him. And in the meantime, Centaur keeps on doing what he's been doing all game. Remy gets to push out the top lane and make it so that they're kind of on the clock here up front. ET is great at stalling out these pushes. It keeps forcing the enemy to reset and reposition, and also can kill off the creep wave quite effectively. But still, Clinks is the superior when it comes to the siege, and they're not able to draw this out to a war of attrition.
All right, instead of going for a push on the high grounds, Clutch Gamer wants to make sure that none of their lanes are being pressured on too much. I mean, that Aegis is kind of ticking down. I honestly thought they could have just slow siege high ground right there, but
Yeah, I mean, that would be, if this was like 40 minutes of the game, I absolutely would say they would have been doing that, but it does feel like they still don't have all the items that they're looking for to really feel extremely confident in that. We're still going to be seeing some offensive items like the Mjolnir picked up on the Ember Spirit, so he can do more, and then they can kind of focus on the Klinks being the frontliner. Like, not necessarily frontliner since his attack range is pretty absurd, but being the focal point of the fight so that the Ember Spirit can play around it.
Are you a fan of a straight Daedalus on Klings, or do you think more of the traditional Bloodthorn is better?
Traditional, are we that far gone?
I guess traditional is probably more Daedalus, but you know.
The item's been in the game for how
2
many months now, and it's like, nope. Well, that's your core item.
I mean, that's the build. It seems like.
I know. I've seen it all the time. In fact, my very first game since Bloodthorn came out, I had a Klinks with brown boots and Bloodthorn in my game.
Do you know why? There was the last compendium. There was a quest that you had to do Klink's Bloodthorn.
Disaster.
That's why.
All right, so Armel gets put in a rough spot, so they don't get enough control on him, and he is gonna slip himself out with the Fire Remnant. So maybe he missed the opportunity to Static Storm him in instead. But yeah, as far as that goes, I feel like this game, I would actually say Daedalus might be better. They're obviously against Disruptor. You can eliminate counterplay by getting the Bloodthorn on him, but the other heroes, like, they're just gonna get stampeded out anyways, right? So I think you want more consistent damage throughout the whole fight, not putting more into the front-loaded physical damage basket.
I mean, I agree with you. I feel like sometimes people overrate Bloodthorn, but you know, yesterday I saw Bloodthorn being purchased against a team with like 2 Yules and 2 Echo Shield from Lotus Orb, and Bloodthorn was still effective in that kind of scenario. So because of the cooldown of it is so short.
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's just, it's more along the lines of I can see a situation where they are only getting kills after Stampede wears off.
Right.
And the Bloodthorn is okay in that situation, but it's not as good as the Daedalus, in my opinion. Also, you're looking at BKBs and Mantas and stuff coming out, mostly from the Drow, the ODRA having his. I mean, it's fine either way, but I definitely think that Daedalus could get some more traction until the evasion comes out anyways. Oh, a pickoff down bottom. It's going to be the Centaur Warrunner just doing his thing. He's going to stampede out. Very
stolen.
nice steal.
Vacuum wall, and there was no follow-up. Stampede has been used on the other side here by Clutch Glamour. MJW focusing very hard on Hannah, but Hannah extremely tanky. He's surging away, creating a ton of saves here. A big Popus' BKB does not get the kill here on Drow Ranger.
Oh.
Drow Ranger forced to TP away. Mario gets Yules up, so his TP home is going to be canceled as well. It is a cluster F over here, and I think that's favoring CG right now, as they're able to lock down, chase people one by one. Most of these people were able to force TP home, but still an undeniable victory here for Clutch Gamer, and more importantly, Rubik, I believe, still has Stampede stolen. No, he actually reseals Static Storm.
Which might be even better.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, definitely it's better.
Well, I can see situations where it might not be the case, but I definitely think in this spot where they're trying to push through and they just don't want to be initiated upon, that you can put it down in a very good spot where it's very difficult to play around.
Well, I'm comparing a Stampede which would have been on cooldown to a fresh Static Storm.
Not that long ago cooldown,
yeah,
man.
that's true.
Centaurs is already back up, so it definitely would be, it's definitely a spell that comes up very quickly, but so too does the Disruptor, quick respawn from him, and we'll see if they can kind of hold this position here. Starter's just looking for his opportunity, but he's already going to be forced right into it.
Static Storm
on the front line.
Clips pretty much everybody there, and Rubik re-steals now Gust. And of course, Abbing Objective Gaming over here hits this tier 3 down to about 40%. Remy wants to actually go for the chase, and they're going to bring one back, but the BKB gets activated, and now it's going to be Centaur on the front line.
Nice
2-man stun, vacuum back in, and that is going to be the play here by the Clutch Gamers. And now that's going to be a buyback immediately. Centaur also has buyback.
I think they're fine still. They can keep going until Centaur buys back. Obviously, you have to worry about the kinetic static on the high ground. The steps are pretty much the exact radius that Disruptor is looking for. But if you can kind of move against that, you're okay. And Klinks doesn't even have to go to high ground. He can stay down here in the low ground and keep firing away.
Well, Ember has no trouble going up the high ground. Blink lift here, fly solo. Gonna get, pops the BKB once. The man fight Apping. Doesn't have his BKB activated just yet, and he's just
Oh.
dead here. The hammer gets dropped here, 2 dead immediately. Nice glimpse away here from the Slardar. Slardar trying to run away, but look at all the projectile following him. Remy giving his team a little bit of vision. The Thunder Strike doing work as well. Force that forward for the Ice Arrow. That's going to be yet another kill. Remy grabs a double after a buyback. That was a disastrous fight here for Clutch Gamers.
If you can call it that. It was mostly them just trying to get away, but
Yeah.
a very nice kinetic field from the tree line allows Mario to set up themselves for some comeback here. Obviously,
That was a very overzealous initiation, right? They don't have any BKBs up,
yeah, that's the big thing here.
and then Rubik just blinks into initiate. I'm not sure if that was the play.
Yeah, I just don't think. I think they were underestimating their opponents a little bit, and I do think that they weren't at all aware that the Disruptor could be in that kind of position. So they weren't cognizant of that fact, and they do get punished pretty heavily for it. But in the grand scheme of things, they still forced 2 buybacks, one from the OD, one from the Centaur. If either of those heroes goes down, that should be racks.
And honestly, that was a 1-5 for Clutch Gamers, but like so many 1 fights for them before that point, you don't get any objectives. It's not like you get a Roche. It's not like you get a tier 1 or tier 2. It was just like 3 kills. That's it. So I think Clutch Gamer is completely okay. They could just kind of reset, maybe wait for 10 minutes for the Roche if they want. In fact, it's not even that. Yeah, it's like 2 minutes away now, or 1 minute away for the next Roche.
So tough position for them to be in. Mario is looking for the Aghanim Scepter, but you'll note that he went for the cast range talent over the GPM. Obviously, GPM talents, especially the early ones, can be pretty low value because you're going to be farming out on the map anyways. They're usually like 60 or at most I think 70 GPM. But in this case, they've been sitting very passively in the base, so it could have been a lot of good progression towards Ags at this point, and he's just relying entirely on the kinetic cast range, which obviously it honestly could have been the game changer towards the bottom lane. So either way, they're making their way up top here. They should be able to get the initiation they need. There is a BKB, but it's not coming out in time. Abing gets it,
It did
but
come out in
wastes
time.
it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it can come out, but it's not going to help them out of that situation. Now they're pushing hard on the tier 2. They really want to buy back out of Clinks here, but I don't think they're in a position to force it.
Yeah, I don't think so as well. You know, the critical thing is that Fly Solo's item progression has really slowed down, right? He's been dying a couple of times since you pointed out.
Bottom. Whoa, Ember Spirit. I mean, he doesn't hit hard, but he is hitting, and he is going to force the TPs back.
At least 1. That's going to be the...
2.
Oh, now 2. Okay, so that's perhaps Rax defended, right? Because that was looking pretty tense up top. I mean,
let's be real. If
Clinks would have buyback, but
if Prestige goes up there, they get back Crush walled, and then Clinks buybacks and wipes them out. So it's not like it's a realistic scenario for them.
Stampede gets stolen, and now Stampede goes the other direction. Look at that slow. He's going to try to pour it out, but no way.
That's dieback. That's dieback. Could they... Oh, they still don't have the clicks, and the creep wave is right in the middle of the map. So I guess they're not going to be able to punish that, but it is a pretty long death timer.
They get Roche regardless.
That's good.
I mean, a lot of these tier 3s are pretty beat up already, so it's not unfeasible for them to take Roche in, a couple of seconds and then ride the momentum up top. Wolf is still stuck up top. I'm not sure whether he's thinking about to do like some Brat Dota or something.
It's going to be a 37-minute Roche and the second life for the Clinks. Both got up a bit here with the BKB, and it's going to be ending up going for the Demon Edge here, presumably for the Daedalus, since we don't see any need for an MKB at this point in time. Dare I say rapier? Lumi, is that a rapier for the Clinks?
It's not a rapier for the Clinks. That's one good way to lose the game.
Dude, you get 70 strafe attack speed at level 25. Could you imagine a strafe of that magnitude with a Divine Rapier?
I could imagine it doing very well with the Daedalus too.
I'm sure. All right, so they did breach tier 3 on bottom. That's one thing the Ember did get out of his playdown when the Clicks had fallen. So that means they are going to be able to break the bottom shrine. And they don't really even need to worry about the top one necessarily. They mostly have been focusing on this bottom lane in terms of the side push and pressure. And their rush isn't going to be up for forever. So that shrine, it could be sitting there fine and dandy. We're going to see here Wolf go for some split pressure of his own. Try to compel them to back, but that's not going to happen.
I think the only thing that CG needs to do is just siege. Like, they don't need to jump into lift. Well, they are jumping into initiate a little bit. Look at the damage! Oh my god, double
Wow.
crits! If MJW was just a second slow, and that's melee racks, they blink lift him up as well. BKB not activated just yet. And a Bing has a BKB. Just standing in the front line, actually pops his ultimate, taking a ton of damage here. He does go down. The Aegis will spawn, but this is what happens when you jump in initiate. BKB's already used. A Bing's going to get 3 shots. The hammer gets dropped. The back wall is going to be great. My god, a Mel dropping his own hammer, and that was the hammer of doom here as CG just takes the Raxus with the help of Illusions. My computer lagged a little bit.
It just exploded.
Yep.
They were there and then they were gone. It was absolutely insane. I mean, you've seen this hero time and time again, this Ember Spirit, amplifying his damage through talents and Veil. But that was ridiculous. That was absolutely insane. In an instant, the team is wiped out and 3 of them have to buy back.
I mean, that was like stuff of like Sven's or you know,
Yeah,
Magnus's.
that reminded me of like DreamHack Winter 2013.
Right. What did he exactly do? Because my computer lagged. Like, did he use triple remnant or?
It was definitely triple remnant and maybe a slide on top of that. I'm not.
And probably
like,
some lightning
was-
procs. I don't know.
Yeah. That's what I assume. Like that's where the damage comes from. But it seems so fast with
Yep.
that with the
Oh,
frame lag.
Amel gonna get gusted here, and now,
Uh-oh.
okay, he does have the Yule Scepter to reset things. Fly Solo coming back in. He does have to stomp. Is he stomping? He does have to stomp here. Nice back in. Look at the deeps.
That's
Man,
it. That's game.
yeah, he's actually doing a lot of physical damage as well. No, they're gonna just a slow burn. Look at him, just walking on top of his face.
Production. I want an instant replay of whatever the heck that Ember Spear was, because that
Do
was
we have
just-
instant replay?
No, we don't. But
Okay.
I think we might get it on the mainstream. We'll see. But
Yeah.
that was just insane. Whatever the heck happened there, that was just an arcane explosion.
All right, well,
Radiant's middle tower
CG
under
is
attack.
gonna clean up the Raxus. I mean, Ember is actually hitting decently hard with his attack speed, so he's cleaning the Raxus pretty fast.
Yeah, it's 2 lanes gone.
Yep.
Very tough position for procedural slide. And Fly Solo gets to play around with
Oh.
Sanity's Eclipse of all spells.
Does he have ult? Or does he have Axe? He does. He can actually, like,
He
yeah,
pres-
4-second them in the Abyss.
That's not necessarily a good thing,
Yeah.
but you know, it's interesting to be sure.
All right, BKB being activated right now, and the right click's coming through. Nice
Double
shotgun
prison.
coming out from Hannah to actually save his ally here. And now MJW's ult ends, or BKB, excuse me, ends, and Fly Solo still holding on to that ultimate. Wait, did he re-steal?
No, he double imprisoned with the Sanity's Eclipse, then he grabs
Yeah.
the Stampede.
All right.
And just has some fun.
Okay.
That was a wombo combo. That is going to be Clutch
Sure.
Gamers taking an expected but very flashy victory here.
So this game looked close, but to me, Clutch Gamers was never ever in danger. Because I think the way that PWW played, it was just like they're kind of in the game, but they're never advancing the game on their own terms.
Sure. I mean, the closest they got was getting the Clinks pick up top and trying to turn that into more. They got a tier 2, and they had to back. So I definitely see where you're coming from and the fact that they just couldn't convert anything into objectives and long-term gains. So across the board, well played to Clutch Gamers as they continue to advance here in the Southeast Asian group stage. I believe that means they are 5-1 here, just shy of Faceless's undefeated 6-0. So
Right.
a few more games from both of these teams going to be coming up in just a few minutes, guys. We are going to be jumping into our next match. At least myself and Lyrical will be bringing you the action of, as I stall slightly longer,
TNC and
RQ.
Yep.
So should be a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Beyond the Summit Kiev Major Qualifier Hub, and we will be seeing you guys in just a few minutes for some more SCA Dota.